And I felt like maybe we got into something. Like you said, we started this thinking, oh, podcast, sure, that sounds good. And then when we really got into it and really got, our hands really dirty, so to speak, it was like, wow, this is a little bit more of a challenge, because now we're trying to naturally say something that's not natural to us, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So I think that translated into more of a dry, what we in instructional technology call the death by PowerPoint, but in an enhanced podcast. And I was like, here it is, point A, point B, But the key is, I think, and as I'm kind of reflecting in action as we go in this process of us, this interview back and forth, is with the podcasting. I think it goes back to the key of the content and your personal involvement with it.
Totally.
Because if not, it becomes just, okay, I can present sort of the same thing. I could go through a book very quickly and get enough information to do a presentation and maybe get through it, versus am I really sharing something with you? And so the idea was that it wasn't going to be, so it just jumped. So
we just
think
jumped
about
right
it.
Into
they
it.
jump right in, and now they're just watching an enhanced PowerPoint.
And there is, in the literature, at least from a literacy standpoint, this idea of now the podcasts are a learning strategy, if you think about it. And if you introduce a learning strategy in any context, I don't care if it's a literacy classroom or a social studies classroom or a science class, there has to be explicit instruction on that strategy, and the teacher has to be really explicit about why we're doing what we're doing. That's in the literature, at least from what I read in reading education. I imagine it would be true in any content area. If you want student buy-in, if you want students to feel like this is going to help me learn, you have to show them the strategy, explain why it works or why you think it works and why you want them to try it.
But specifically, we were looking at podcasting, and we were two folks that had masters in instructional technology, understood instructional design and some theory behind that, and especially had some better than average maybe skills with the technology tools, and so with all that considered, we were still first time podcast developer makers or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And so we came into it though with good skills and a good knowledge of how to design instruction, and it was a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't necessarily get the results we really wanted. So now I see it as we're going back and saying, well, why not? What did we learn from this? How can we do this better? How could we help somebody else considering undertaking this?